Hello and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sport, and today we are going to look at the Rainbow Cup South Africa as the Bulls continued to assert their dominance on South African rugby as they bagged pretty much another, they didn't officially get a Rainbow Cup SA trophy or anything like that, but they will board the plane for Italy this week and go to try and win a third major trophy in about 9 months. And for the other unions, I think there are a lot of lessons to be learned in how the Bulls, with the right signings, the right investment, the right management structures, the right coaches, have turned themselves into a side who were competing and were becoming a bit of the disappointment of South African rugby to becoming the dominant team by a country mile, really. And I think that even with their depth being tested, they continuously show why they are the best. And sometimes, as a supporter of another side like the Lions, all you have to do is just sit back and say, fair play, because it's impressive. It is impressive. You can get upset about it. You can sort of say, oh, but they're signing and they're throwing all the money and stuff like that. The project that has been built in the last year at the Bulls is some brilliant piece of administration, and it really is resulting in some very good rugby on the pitch and a new sort of dawn of Bulls dominance. Before we sort of break down the tournament and look at how all the where the teams finish and stuff like that and what we can kind of learn, we will also be doing a team of the tournament tomorrow as well. But please do smash a like, subscribe to the channel as well. We'll be live tonight for your rugby news. Hop us 8 South African Standard Time, so make sure you come and hang out with us later. But yeah, so in terms of how the tournament finished, so the Bulls topped the log with 25 points. The Stormers coming in second after their default victory against the Lions weekend. The game didn't go ahead because of COVID-related cases in the Lions camp, and as a result, the Stormers were awarded a victory there. So the Stormers finished on 17 points. The Sharks just behind them on 16, and the Lions on 8 points. So for the Lions, it was tough reading. It really was tough going. And I think that if we'll start with the Lions in terms of what needs to happen, it's a side with so many good youngsters and lots of exciting players. I think there's still a couple of question marks about the coaching staff, but at the end of the day, if the Lions do not go and drop some money and bring in some key players, some big experienced players who are playing at their best of their ability right now, on top of the game right now, we will continue to struggle. It's very good to have exciting youngsters. It's very good to see that they can come together and put in a good performance. But if you want to compete in the Pro 16, and the Lions do, they have to go and try and compete. They need more players. They need better players, more experienced players. We can't wait 4 or 5 years for these really young players to suddenly become possibly world class. Are these the right coaches to be taking them to being world class? We need players who can make the team a good team now. For all that people keep saying that the Bulls signed a lot of old players, look at how sorted out that team immediately. And they're starting to blood more youngsters. So they've got a succession plan. They've got a structured approach. I think the Sharks are trying something similar in bringing Siya Kolisi, Bongi Manambi, Lionel Cornier back, Cameron Wright. They're bringing a lot of good players into this union who are going to try and immediately turn them into contenders. And I think that they are becoming the second best side in the country. The Stormers are just a whole different team altogether because they've got that. They've got everything they need. They've got all the ingredients to bake the cake, but the cake just keeps flopping. And the question is why? Is it the coaching staff? Is it some of the players? Is it all the misadministration that's happening outside of the coaching staff and outside the setup within the boardrooms and stuff like that? What are the issues within that within their franchise, within the Western Province Rugby Union that is resulting in a side, the Stormers, who can sometimes pull in a big performance but just can't seem to be able to get over the line? That's kind of been the case for the last 10 years. They've always been close. They're always making playoffs. They're always making semi-finals, but they just can't deliver those final couple of results. And it was the same in the Rainbow Cup. They put in that very big performance up against the Bulls, which would have put them into a final position. But then fell apart right at the end, where despite making like 270 tackles, they couldn't get the job done. So what is it about that union that they just can't seem to take that final step, get past that final hurdle? It's interesting, and I think there's a variety of factors. So we're going to talk a bit about that tonight in our live show. But in terms of the Rainbow Cup, I think the biggest thing for me is that Rassie Erasmus and Jacques Lienebar would have watched the Rainbow Cup and said, these players are ready for Test match rugby. That, I think, was the main sort of takeaway. It was of a good standard. It was very poor when we got into Super Rugby Unlocked. The Currie Cup, even so, people were saying is a bit iffy. The preparation series was largely experimental, lots of different players coming in, stuff like that. And we really weren't excited about another local competition. But credit to these teams, they did step it up. They definitely stepped it up. I think it was a much higher standard of rugby than what we saw in Super Rugby Unlocked and Currie Cup. And I think it was much closer to the standard of rugby we can expect to see in the Pro 16. And obviously we'll be able to see that when the Bulls go and play against Benetton this weekend. Probably not the best side in the Rainbow Cup North, but just maybe a little bit to a certain degree being favoured by the teams they play. But still, it'll be a nice indication to see how they sort of shape up. But I think that watching these games, I am confident those games will have a similar standard of what I think they will be playing week in, week out, because there were some very, very good matches, some very good. And the nice thing was they were close. They were all some very close matches. For the Lions, for all that they finished, 8 points behind the Sharks, who came in third place. I mean, it's quite hectic when you think that they finished 8 points behind third place. They never got thrashed. They never got taken apart. They never got decimated. They were always in the fight. There were a couple of games that could have gone both ways. That Stormers game when they lost it right at the end. That sort of game. I think they had their chances against the Sharks to try and turn things around. They were quite slow out the blocks, but I think that the Lions definitely showed that they're quite close there. That's why I think a couple of extra players would make them challenges. But I am confident that across the sides, these are teams that can go into that Pro 16 and make a difference. I think the Bulls are a side which, if they got into the European Champions Cup, they could try and go into semi-finals. They could maybe make a final. They could try and go all the way. They've got some world-class players there. They've got a world-class coaching team. So I think that was the biggest sort of relief for me, is I think that we were all worried about about the team being half-baked going into the British and Irish Lions series. Maybe from a team perspective, in terms of team chemistry and not being able to play enough, that could be a case. There are 2 Georgian games to try and sort that out. But I think physically, these players have played at a good standard of rugby for the last couple of months and will be feeling a lot better in terms of their bodies being prepared, mentally being prepared. Fitness levels wise, they are physically prepared to go into Test match rugby, because this 6 weeks of Rainbow Cup action was a high standard rugby, and we're going to go into the Currie Cup, and it's going to be very interesting to see how these teams sort of fare with largely second string sides and lots of juniors. No SA under 20 players will be involved in the Currie Cup. Obviously no Springboks, and that 46-man squad will be involved in the Currie Cup. We've got a couple of players who are leaving unions, so we're going to see a lot of changes within these unions. But I think in terms of the Rainbow Cup South Africa, I think it did exceed expectations. I think we were very frustrated having to watch another version of the tournament, but what we saw was a much better competition than I think that we were kind of expecting, which is the main thing, and that's a really good thing. So now we go into the Currie Cup, and I think for me it's very. I'm going to have to try and sort of take my expectations. I think that we will eventually be able to work towards the Currie Cup being this really big, competitive, really nice competition of really good standard. I don't think we're going to get it now. As I said, we're going to see a lot of second string sides. You're going to have to see a lot of rotation. You're going to have to see a lot of working around. We're getting midweek games. You don't really want midweek games, but just like last year, where we had to kind of adapt. This will be another one where we have to adapt to a new schedule, and hopefully when the Pro 16 starts, we can now start building towards a permanent schedule which will be able to allow these sides to produce top teams in the Currie Cup, and hopefully allow these other sides like your EP Elephants, your Prequas, your Pumas, your Cheetahs, hopefully allow them to start playing and also at much higher standards. So when we get to the Currie Cup, it's a team of 8 teams, of which 6 or 7 of them could go all the way, and that there's not a lot between them. It's very, very competitive, and we're seeing even like finishing the first in the log, that they're still dropping a couple of games. That's what we want to see. You don't want to see one team just dominate the entire tournament. So overall, I'm very happy with the Rainbow Cup. Let me know what you thought of the game, of the tournament as well. Smash the like on the video. Do subscribe to the channel. My name is Steven, and I'll chat to you very soon.